And what was really happening is your competition mopped you up, because when someone clicked on your ad and you had 50 Google reviews and really old pictures on your Google My Business that looks like a torture chamber, and then your competition has 2,000 Google reviews and they have same day availability and beautiful pictures, and they didn't even click on that person's ad, but it showed up right next to you because they rank, and they went there. And so it's like we have these forces at play that dentists aren't thinking about.
AI isn't just changing dentistry, it's completely redefining it. Tune into Byte-sized Podcast, the dental AI and tech podcast, and stay ahead of the curve.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Byte-sized Podcast. We've been told, or marketing reps like myself and Gary here have been told, that AI search is going to kill paid advertising, but the data shows the exact opposite is about to happen. Gary Bird runs SMC National, one of the most data-obsessed dental marketing agencies in the country. He spent the last 15 years building tracking, infrastructure, that most agencies avoid because it exposes what actually works. He watched every major shift in the dental marketing space, from phone books to Facebook ads to AI search, and he's built a CRM that actually measures conversion at every stage of the patient journey. So if you want to understand where Google ads are headed and why tracking will end up separating winners from losers in 2026, Gary's got the receipt. So welcome to the show, Gary. Appreciate you coming on, my man.
Absolutely. My pleasure. This is going to be fun. And yeah, it's interesting. We're kind of back where we were when internet came out, and it was like this big change and no one really knew for sure where it was going to go. I remember walking into a dental office and somebody saying, I said, hey, you really need to focus on your Google presence. We need to run some ads, get your Google My Business up. And they were like, oh, no, I'm on yellowpages.com. And I'm like, homie, that's not the same thing. And we're at that place now where it's like people are doing, we're having these conversations again, but we're in a different place because we're building off of an infrastructure. When Google and all these things came out, there was no infrastructure. Like nothing. We went from no internet to internet, and then we started aggregating information together. But now there's all these conglomerates out there, and they're not just going to be like, oh yeah, sure, agents, you guys just do everything. They're all building AI agents too. So
right.
It's not going to the cookie isn't going to crumble the way it did last time.
Yeah. Well, I brought you on the show because I've been in the business for almost as long as you. And you've been known and come to know, or the word on the street is that Google ads better than about anybody. And so that's why I brought you on the show. So what I want to start with this is what's changed with the Google ads platform, and maybe say from 5 years ago to today? What have you seen shift?
Well, even
don't take 3 hours.
I won't. Like, thank you for the compliment. We run a lot of Google ads for dentists, so we know the dental world pretty well because we have to. I will say early on in dentistry, when I got in, when Google Maps came out, you could kind of do whatever you wanted, and Google just kind of lets you manipulate Google Maps. Like you could just change a couple keywords and then all of a sudden pop up in another city, or change your name to something else and pop up where you wanted to. And you could produce a lot of leads with that. And that's kind of how we got started in dental. But then Google bolted that down and was like, no, we're not going to let you do that. When ads really became popular, because most people don't realize this, like ads for small businesses like dentists, no one did it. Like nobody understood it. It was mainly for big companies. Google went for the big fish first. Then they started coming down for the small businesses. So when they first came out for the small businesses, they made it really simple, like so simple that I used to run Google ads on my phone. Just I could log in and just set them up and get everything going. And if you need, not that I recommend that, but you could totally do that. And I all these businesses that did the same thing, like just entrepreneurs, pest control companies, sports arena owners, different things like that. They would go out and start to just run their own ads, and it was fairly simple. Google ads now is like super complicated.
When I get in there, I'm like overwhelmed, totally overwhelmed. So I can echo that for sure.
Yeah. Anybody who says, oh yeah, I just go in there and you're going to learn it on the weekend, you're just not. And the other thing that most people don't understand is even if you could, and you have ChatGPT to help you and go through and learn it, it's not like dentistry where you're doing the dentistry in isolation and you could learn something and you can kind of mess up or fudge and then fix it because you're controlling the environment. You're in an active competition, cutthroat, and there's a lot of levers that you don't even realize that other people are using against you. And so that's the trickiest part when we jump into these markets. It's just like, okay, what is everything that's going on and why is this working so well or not working so well? And it's more than just the analytics, way more than just the analytics that's in Google AdWords. That's just the top of the funnel that starts the conversation.
So, I guess the follow-up question is that, well, I would say that can a dentist or a dental marketing manager go through a Google Ads course or something like that and just kind of learn it fairly well so they can start running ads?
Absolutely.
And if they are willing to do that, where's I mean, this is a little bit of a jab at like, or me giving you the opportunity to kind of like say, well, this is what you would miss out, or the gains that you'd miss out on by hiring a professional. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do your own taxes too. You know what I mean? Like 100% you can do your own taxes. You can. And
I don't do my own taxes.
Well, but you can though, right? Like you can.
Yeah,
there's no rule against doing. It's not like dentistry where there's a moat built because you have to go to school for 8 years. So you can do your own HR. But what don't you know about HR?
Yeah,
like
a lot.
Yeah, a lot, right? What don't you know about tax law? A lot. And now, can you use AI? Absolutely. You can use AI or a course to speed along your knowledge, but you also don't know what you don't know. You and I were just talking, like if you call Google and say, hey, help me set this up, this campaign for my dental office, they are going to lead you down the wrong path because they are optimizing for spend while you're going to be optimizing for something else.
Right. They just translate stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like AI is only as good as the questions that you know to ask. So I go in and I'm like, hey, AI, help me with my health. And I'm asking all these questions like, sure, you can do that. And then I go, oh yeah, maybe I should tell it this other context. Oh yeah, don't do that. If this other context comes into play, well, it would have never known to tell me that unless I shared that context. So Google at this point it's complicated. I'll give you a simple one, like a super simple one. And did you know, or I'm not speaking to your audience, you probably know this, but did you know that if you put the word Botox on your website, Google instantly flags you, will begin to de-rank you, and stop serving your ads, but it doesn't tell you that it's doing that because that's a banned keyword.
I did not know that.
I should know
that.
No, but it's one of those things that's just like
they've categorized Botox outside of dentistry globally, kind of
globally. It doesn't matter, and it's just like no, I have my license. Doesn't matter. There's a certain certification that you have to have with Google that dentists don't have. And it's the same as putting Vicodin on your website. Same, if you go and put Vicodin on your website, like, hey, we sell Vicodin, it will automatically flag you. You have to have a special license to sell Vicodin, Botox, and there's like a list of like hundreds of other words like that. And I see this all the time where it's just like, my ad stopped serving and my site just disappeared and I can't figure out why. And it's like, did you add Botox to the website? And it's like, yeah. It's like, oh, I can tell you when Google indexed that. And then when they flagged it, I can tell you in the pattern of when you started to lose traffic. So there's like hundreds of things like that.
Let's dig on that example really quick. What do you do with a client that's transitioning to become more of a spa and Botox is a major emphasis? How do you handle that situation?
I don't touch that with a 1,000-foot pole. I tell them, we can build you a landing page that's de-indexed from the site, meaning just for the audience,
right?
Google
so
doesn't see it. It's invisible to Google, but anybody who lands there can read it. And then we'll run ads you can run ads on Facebook because Facebook doesn't have that rule, and run traffic back that way. But you're not going to run ads through Google, unless you go there. Again, there's people who can run ads for Botox, but I've never seen a dentist who gets the appropriate licensing for that. And typically, in my experience, when dentists go that route, it's because they haven't been able to figure out the other stuff. And Botox is super hard. Like that's really hard to add in as as a something in your tool belt that's going to actually make you profitable as a business. I haven't seen anybody do it successfully. Not saying that people haven't added it in.
Well, no, that's a great answer because usually, you know, if I'm a dentist and I'm on the phone with a marketing company, like and let's say that this is understood about Botox, you know, some marketing companies would probably say, "Oh yeah, we can do it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, not letting the dentist know that long term is probably a bad idea.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
or they might not even know. I found out the hard way. Like someone said, add Botox to our website, and we said, okay. And we added it to their website, and then all of a sudden everything, like a month later, everything just started falling apart slowly. All the traffic started dwindling and the rankings started to drop. And we were like, why? What's going on? Yeah, Google does. That's what's so fun about Google is like, Google doesn't tell you what the actual problem is a lot of the times. So they're just like, we're just like, what is going on? Why? It's like, it said, I'm trying to remember exactly what it used to say. It was something along the lines of like, you know, I don't remember exactly, but it kind of notifies you, but it's vague. So you have to go in and figure it out. And the next thing you know, it's like traffic dries up, and eventually we figured it out. Like, oh, we added this to the website at this time. Let's try removing it. And we removed it, and then all of a sudden it started to work. So we make that like I have an extreme filter. Anybody coming in to work with us, they have Botox on their site. It's like the first thing that we remove.
Just take it off. Yeah. All right, cool. So the audience listening probably may or may not be aware of this, but I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about what's going on. So Google ad cost, the cost per click, cost per acquisition is kind of skyrocketing.
Yeah.
It's going up. It's significant, meaning you're having to spend more money. What's going on with this? And how long has it been lasting for?
Yeah. So there's seasonalities to this where it is always higher. And then there's just a steady climb because of like inflation. But basically the way to think about, or at least I claim it to inflation, who knows what it's actually causing it. But basically the way to think about Google ads is not to think of it as like a marketing service, but more of a bidding auction. Like you're going into like, you know, these cow things that they have, and they do auctions, you know what I mean? And each
all cow the farmers listen up.
Yeah, exactly. And they go in and they're like, you know, all right, and they start doing the bidding, and everybody's bidding on things. That is what you're doing. But you're doing it against other dentists, and you're doing it for a fixed supply of cows or new patients. So the market's only going to produce so many new patients every single month.
Right.
For you to produce more new patients than that is next to impossible, unless you're just doing like crazy amount of like social media branding or just causing people to realize you're there when they're not even thinking about you. But that's hard in dental. It's hard to justify the cost of that. So there's only so many new patients. Everybody wants them. And then you're bidding and you're fighting over those new patients. And what I have come to realize is most of the time, the reason that dentists are losing those new patients are not for the reasons that they think they're losing them. So what I find interesting is like at the beginning of the month, it's super competitive. Why? Because
they restart their budget.
Yeah, automatically. So if you and I are both a dentist and we each have $1,000 in our Google AdWords budget and we're running our own ads, it's just going to reset at the beginning of the month. The other thing is it becomes less competitive at the end of the month. Why? Because budgets run out as the month goes along.
Right.
And so Google's like trying to run it evenly, but more than likely it's going to run out. Same with the beginning of the week and the end of the week. At the beginning of the week, it's more competitive. Why? Because if I set $250 at the beginning of each week to start, I'm going to have more of that at the beginning. And then towards the end of the week, it runs out, and a lot of dentists are closed on Friday. Same thing with mornings versus afternoons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So as dentists are constantly jumping in and jumping out. And I'm sure you've heard this before, where a dentist says, I tried AdWords, it didn't work. And it's like,
sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It probably doesn't work then, right? They're a billion, $1 trillion company or whatever, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't work, right? No, it's that you didn't know what you were doing. And what was really happening is your competition mopped you up, because when someone clicked on your ad and you had 50 Google reviews and really old pictures on your Google My Business that looks like a torture chamber, And then your competition has 2,000 Google reviews, and they have same day availability and beautiful pictures. And they didn't even click on that person's ad, but it showed up right next to you because they rank. And it's just like, they went there. And so it's like we have these forces at play that dentists aren't thinking about, and then what even makes it worse, and we were talking about this before we hit record, I'll bring that up to a dentist like, hey, listen, we're not able to produce the leads that we want because of, look at this dentist down the street. And the dentist will say, oh, they're horrible dentists. They're bad clinicians. And I'm like, okay, well, the patients think they're great clinicians. So maybe they are the worst clinician. Maybe they're not even doctors. Maybe they're just like pretend doctors, but the patients believe that they're really good.
Yeah, there's the online reputation has a little bit of correlation to clinical capability, but not
very little,
very much. Yeah. And so a doctor who's not as, clinically sound as another doctor can appear to be more clinically sound if they know how to do their marketing.
Yeah, I have a doctor.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, I just remember I have this presentation I do about Google Maps optimization, Google business profile optimization. And I can't tell you how many times I've been searching online, prepping for that presentation, and I'll find, those a single Google ad in the ads pack. So there could be 4 there, 1 ad and then 3 listings. And the one that's advertised has the fewest and frankly worst reviews reputation. Like they're just advertising that you shouldn't go there. Like their money's wasted.
Yep.
So I just, so to your point about, hey, you gotta like beef up your online reputation before
100%.
we start spending a lot of money.
Yeah, or at least know. I have people tell me, because dentists will, spend 5 years working on that before they start marketing. And I tell them like, no, let's start marketing so your team can start getting at bats, but we need to improve these things. And you need to realize it's going to cost you more per patient to drive through the door right now than it is in the future. I had a doctor that I was working with who worked, owned a practice, bought a practice, and he realized that the dentist before him, was not a great dentist. So he's fixing all this work. And he's like, this dentist isn't good. And his new patients just kept going down and down and down and down. And I was like, well, was he doing any marketing? And he was like, no, he wasn't doing any marketing really. Well, come to find out, this dentist was extremely social, like really good with patients, not great clinically. But for years, his patients just kept referring him more patients and so he got boatloads of reviews. And the new dentist coming in wasn't getting the reviews, wasn't getting the patient referrals. Right. And so now, not only is he having to fix all this dentistry for free, he's also, his new patients are dwindling, and he can't figure out the correlation between the two. Like, and he's like, and it doesn't make sense to a dentist because he's like, I'm a better dentist. Like I am factually a better dentist. And I'm like, yeah, doc, you are, but you're not as good socially or bedside manner isn't as good as this other guy. He was A+ in that area, so much so it covered up all his bad dentistry.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because dentists are typically, this is not a broad statement, but generally speaking, they're scientists, and they see the world in a very specific way, and it's not always they're not always socially inept, you know what I mean? So I get that.
And the reason I brought all that up is because it ties back into Google ads, right? So you can go into Google ads and run the most technically sound, scientifically backed campaign, and then come to the end of the month and spend $10,000 and not see one new patient because you don't it's marketing that you're doing. You forgot because you're in this auction being scientific format mindset, and you forgot about all the social cues all around you.
So are we saying that dentists just need to go to like a therapy class, social correlation class before they start marketing?
No, I think it's
culture communication.
Yeah. This is fresh on my mind because I've been posting about it a lot lately. Is like, I think it's okay to learn from everybody. I think it's okay to go learn from the best clinicians out there and just have them help you. And it's okay to go learn from people who are not great clinicians, but they figured other things out in their business. it's okay to go learn from them the business things that they're doing right, because they figured out something that you haven't, and that doesn't mean that you have to copy their clinical style. So there's all types, right? There's all types of
Sure.
dentists. There's all kinds of ways to be successful. You need to be able to draw from different people and learn from them. You can't just write everybody off because you don't like their margins. You know what I mean? So that won't serve you well long term, I don't think.
So there's something transitioning here. There's something kind of big happening in the industry, which is this whole AI search transition. So ChatGPT started snaking some of Google's search traffic, and they just launched at the Super Bowl. I think it was the Super Bowl. They launched that they're running ads now. You can start getting ads in ChatGPT. I don't even, is that available in healthcare yet? Do you know?
I don't think so, no, but I have seen ads pop up.
Yeah. And then Google's moving to the full AI mode probably this year sometime. So the whole interface with Google is going to be like, there's not going to be 10 blue links anymore. It's just going to be, you're just going to be interacting right with Google Gemini.
Correct.
So with that, what does this mean? Let's talk about Google specifically, not ChatGPT, because Google still controls what, 85% of all the search traffic, like everything.
Yeah.
So when they move to full AI mode, what's going to happen to paid advertising through Google? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think even taking Google out of it, taking any of these businesses, is that they have to make money. And so the product of all these hyperscalers, let's call them, your Facebooks, your Google, all of these type of businesses, there's a general rule. When something is for free, you are the product. So so all Facebook's free. Well, it's not free. All of you
they're selling
your
data.
attention. Yeah, they're selling your data. And who are they selling it to? They're selling it to marketers. And then marketers are putting ads back in front of you to get you to buy things.
Right.
And that's the game. Like, that is the whole game. So I don't see AI in the future, people paying a bunch of money for it. Sure, businesses like you or me might pay for it, for tokens and things like that, because we're using like an ungodly amount of data to run everything on the back end, or the AI models on the back end. But I don't think people are going to use it. Just like the internet. The internet's $60. You know what I mean? You pay for it. You know what I mean? And that's there you go. I get all my internet. I can run everything off of it. It's all free in quotation marks. So any of these models, they're going to be free. And if they're free, what they're going to do is they're going to collect as much information about you as possible. And then they're going to serve ads back to you to be able to continue to offer you free stuff. And you're going to be happy to do it. And you're even going to love the ads even more, because it's like, man, these guys really know me.
These actually are targeted. Yeah, they're targeted.
These are targeted to me. And then like I typed in, how do I fix a bubble gut issue that I'm having, And then all of a sudden it serves an ad for medicine that will actually solve my problem. Like, that's useful, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I think is going to happen, is like, you're going to have people who are on their phone and they're going to film a video of pain in their mouth because they have an abscess, and it's going to serve you a dentist. And people are going to run ads for that. I don't think that really changes anything. I mean, like, the only thing it changes is going to take away organic ranking. So I think the people who are actually at risk here are not the people who understand ads. I think it's the SEO people.
Yeah, it's the people who can't seem to get their client, speaking from a marketing perspective, a dental marketing perspective, to show up inside of the AI generated response, which is a whole new game. But the ad platform gets you in there. It just the ad product will get you in there immediately.
Well, so let's talk about that a little bit. So Google, so a lot of times people are like, I just want to rank on SEO, right? Dentists love, like, just give me a rank on SEO. That's all I need. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And it may or may not work because of a lot of different reasons, or you may or may not get there because of a lot of different reasons. But also,
or it's
Google
going to take a long time.
Yeah.
Or it's going to take a long time. It's not going to start. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen next month.
Exactly. I mean? And then also to keep in mind that Google can change the rules of the game anytime they want. And Google doesn't make money off of SEO. They make money off of ads.
Right.
So the SEO is just a necessary evil of the game that they have to play. Like, make no mistake about it. If Google could delete all SEO today and just serve ads, they'd be happy to do that. Like, just happy to. Now they know they can't do that because it's like, well, I don't want these 3 ice cream spots. I want this other ice cream spot that doesn't run ads.
Right.
So they know that they can't get away with that yet. But in the near future, think about it. If right now I search for the dentist, so I type dentist near me because I'm in pain. What's going to change when I go to the AI bot, so to speak, is I'm going to be describing my pain.
Yeah, your
asking
queries might going to be much longer, probably.
Yeah, much longer, or maybe even with videos explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they're going to be like, oh yeah, I know exactly what your problem is, and this dentist has that service, and here's an ad for it. They can then at that point start to weed out SEO as a whole, or at least make it so confusing that it's like you never really know why or when or what model. Like that's what ChatGPT is right now. It's like I love when people say, oh yeah, we figured out how to rank in ChatGPT. I'm like, how do you even know what model they're using at any given moment? Like sometimes they're using older models and sometimes they're using newer models. Like how are you accounting for that? And people don't know. Like we don't know yet. So it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure.
To the point of confusion, like let me kind of like contextually describe this. So when you go to Google now, when I go to Google now and I do a search, up until the AI overviews, which are kind of a lot of times right at the top of the search engine now, but prior to that, ads were at the top. They were always at the top, and I just skim right past them, right? Mm-hmm. And because I knew where they were at, right? And so it just became like automatic. Hit the enter button, skim past the ads, look for the results down below. Google's going to be changing this. Mm-hmm. And if I were in Google's seat, I would craft the user interface, the actual AI results, so that the ads are still, you can still know it's an ad, but it's probably going to be a little bit less clear to understand where those ads might be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I doubt they're just going to put them right at the top, which people just scroll past. I would imagine they're going to start putting them inside of the AI recommendation, or maybe in a few different spots.
Yeah.
To increase conversions and clicks and so forth.
What Google's really good at is, I mean, that's what I would do. But what Google's really good at is they're really good at figuring this out. So they roll little things out. You'll see them. I live in LA, so I see things roll out all the time that I'm like, oh, I've never seen that before on Google. Yeah. And then it'll disappear, and what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just testing it.
Yeah, they're testing it in a big market. And they're like, let's see if this. And they just keep testing and testing. And really, there's no end to it, right? They just keep testing and testing and testing. So Google's really good at optimizing for results. So yeah, they're going to do whatever optimizes for results for clicking on ads. And then your job as a marketer is to figure out how to push those people towards you and get the best results for you to tip the scales in your favor, so to speak.
Right.
And it's just like a never ending game. I don't even like to I just tell the team, I'm like, dude, we're not even going to worry about it right now. Cause it's like we're going to play this future game that we don't know any of the rules or anything. And someone else controls the whole chess. So it's just like, yeah, something's going to happen. I know that for sure. That's one consistent thing about marketing is it keeps changing. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know, man. We live in a crazy time. So we'll see. It'll roll out, and first movers will always have an advantage. Cause I remember when Facebook ads first came out and I was like, oh this is cool. I was like, dude, I can produce a patient for like $10. It's like, I was like, I'll get you as many new patients as you want. Like, how many do you want? And it was because it was because
there was no competition.
No competition. It was pennies
for
clicks.
And Facebook was allowing you to do some serious targeting.
Yeah, serious targeting. It's like, I want to target Jewish people under the age of 20. Yeah, like
that make more than $150,000.
Yes. You could. They ended up, a lot of that's illegal now because they're like, dude, you can't target people based on their political and religious leanings, you know what I mean? Which I understand. But yeah, you used to be able to target like basically whatever you wanted.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about the benefit of ads with SEO. Okay. So my agency, I've come from the other side of the whole marketing spectrum than your company. You you've come heavy from the ad, at least from what I understand. I mean, you do all digital marketing, but ads is kind of like your gig.
Yeah.
My social practice, we never really got into ads until just a few years ago. And so I came from it from the social media and SEO kind of perspective. Okay.
Mhm.
What I'm seeing now, and I used to be honest with you, I used to tell practices, don't do ads.
Me too.
I don't
used
say
to
that
too.
now.
Yeah.
I don't say that now. Okay.
Yeah.
But I have been in that camp. Like, don't run ads. It costs too much, blah, 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 blah. Do this instead. Well, here's the problem that we've run into. The AI search engines are so much more sophisticated than they were. It's not just searching for a keyword. I mean, they are looking at literally everything. And so when it comes to SEO, trying to just like be recommended by Google Gemini or be recommended by ChatGPT, what we call AI SEO or AEO or GEO, whatever the hell you want to call it. One of the big problems in SEO is you have to get user-generated content. And if you're publishing content on social or you're publishing content on your site or whatever it might be, it's really, really freaking hard to get eyeballs on it unless you have an ad spend behind it, right? Yeah. So if I have a post, it's a great video post or whatever from a practice, and we want to try and get this pushed out on social media, they might push it out and get 10 or 15 people take a look at it, but you put 10, 20, $30 behind it, and all of a sudden now it reaches a couple hundred people, and the comments that come in, the responses feed SEO, feed the SEO engine. So I don't think it's possible nowadays to do SEO without an ad campaign backing it. I just don't think it's possible. It is possible. I don't think it's smart. I think the smartest thing to do.
Yeah.
It's not optimal. It's not optimal. You need to have some kind of an ad spend, especially with social content, in order to boost the engagement, which is all this stuff that the AI search engines are looking for. The other thing is that, I mean, if we drive traffic, I don't know, when you run ads, do you drive traffic to the practice's website, or do you always use landing pages, or
both? Like we test both because some markets, some markets, the landing pages do extremely well. Other markets, the homepage does better, and just depends. And it also depends on how much traffic you have, right? Like if someone's searching the word dentist, it's probably better to send them to the homepage because what are they actually searching versus something that's more niche.
So what are your thoughts on when you run ad campaigns and you're driving traffic to the website, whatever page on the website? How does that support SEO?
So I'm not sure because Google doesn't really share this, and Google's very interesting on this. There's this, most people don't know this. So we've tested this every which way. Anytime that someone's ranked well, doesn't matter what, under any circumstances, when we spend more money, more people come through SEO. I have a theory on this, on like why this is. So, and I could be wrong, but this is my theory, is that Google, and it's so weird that Google doesn't track this. Like you cannot track this. So if you can track everything else on Google, but if someone finds you on an ad, goes to your website, reads your website, doesn't matter, landing page, whatever, then comes back out and does a Google search for your practice to look at your Google reviews, and then goes into your Google My Business and then calls from your Google My Business or reaches out however through your Google My Business, that shows up as an SEO lead.
Because it's not following the original action.
Yes, and Google has the ability to track that, but they don't. I don't know why. If it's something just archaic that's broken,
it's only through the Google business profile.
Correct.
If they go back to the website, you can track it back.
Yes, if they go back to the website, you're good. But that's not how people flow in dental. Dental is very specific. And I'm sure there's other service businesses like this, but Google in dental, it's like, okay, I'm going to find some people, and then I'm going to go look at their Google My Businesses, and then I'm going to call from the Google My Businesses. And so,
and then you don't get credit for having run the ad.
No. Google doesn't, in all your ad campaigns or everything, it doesn't give you credit to your ads, it gives credit to your SEO. Now there were some ways to manually go pull that apart, right? Because they search for your name rather than your, a generic keyword, but you got to like manually go through and do that because that is a SEO lead at that point. So the other thing is just like, why wouldn't Google reward? I'm just thinking like just in common sense. Why wouldn't Google reward people who are doing the right things for SEO and quotation marks and spending money on Google ads? Like, you're my ideal customer. I'd rather reward you than the guy that's gaming the system and running amazing SEO and not running any ads. Like, I would rather reward the guy that's running. Does that make sense? Like, that's just totally. I don't know if it's true, and
because it would encourage you to spend more money. I mean, that's where they get their money from.
You're like, oh, it's working. It's working. It wasn't working before, and now it's working more. Or it was working a little, and now it's working more. So
there's got to be some kind of partition inside of the Google system where it's not. It's got the
or they don't
search results or not.
Or here's another theory. Or they don't, because if you're running these ad platforms, you can get in big trouble if you favoritism over certain things, right? And all that kind of stuff. So maybe they just keep it so separate.
Yep.
I'm just spitting theory, right? Like, I have no idea. Like, I've never, like, maybe they just keep it so separate. It's just like, these are two totally different things. And that's why there's spillover for the ads. When you run ads, there's spillover in your SEO.
Yeah.
Oh, in my experience, SEO leads and like new patients actually calling always goes through the roof the second you start running ads. Yeah, always.
One of the other reasons, and I don't know what part of the Google algorithm or how much of the Google algorithm this has to do with, but if you click through from an ad to the website, and then you actually as a consumer spend time reading the website, time spent on the website is a factor for SEO.
Yep.
So if you're driving a shit ton of traffic to their website, you're going to see an uptick in the SEO because there's just more people being driven to the website.
Yeah, and
I know that Google. Sorry, I know that Google probably has some way of like parsing some of that because it's ad traffic. But if it's ad traffic and they actually start scrolling and clicking through and reading and stuff like that, it absolutely has something to do with it.
Well, let me give another one. Here's another one that's interesting to me is that Google actually knows how often you're answering your phone too. So when you go, whether SEO ads, whatever, someone goes to your Google My Business and they click to call
they click
to call on their cell phone.
Yeah.
Yep. On their cell phone. And they don't at 10 a.m. And by 10:01 or 10:02, they called other practices. Like, I guarantee
you weren't there.
You weren't there. And you're seeing that over and over and over again. Like, I think that has to play a part in it.
Absolutely. And with the AI search engines now, they're gonna suck that data in. The intent of Google is to produce the result that is the best result for the consumer so that they keep using Google. Period.
Yeah, which means you buy. Best result means you go to that business and you get the thing that you want and you're happy with it. Which would be a Google review at the end. Yay, this was a good experience. And they can see, Google knows when you walk into the business. Google knows when
tracking your GPS. Yeah.
Yeah. You're on your phone, you search dentist near me, you call them, you schedule, and then you walk into their practice and then you leave a Google review. Like, Google sees all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts about just before we jump off of the AI ad stuff?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about ChatGPT ads? I mean, do you think they're going to be successful? Are you going to implement that with your?
Oh, I'm going to the second we can, I'm going to test it. Yeah. And I'll be talking about it all the time because it'll be number one, great content. And number two, like super fascinating how it's going to work. With that said, I don't know if ChatGPT is going to be the player into the future. I don't know, because a lot of people are like, oh, first mover, like Google and Yahoo and then Google won, I don't know if that's the right way to look at AI. It might be that, right? Maybe that is ChatGPT and they become the Google and that's the, take over the world. Or maybe AI becomes like what the internet is, where everything's on AI and it's like, we're going to apps, and every app that I go to, I don't know if you saw it. It was so funny. Someone said, tired of wasting all your tokens on Claude Code? look at this, and it had a Chipotle chat, and someone put like it's like, hey, the JSON file and put it like a whole in the Chipotle chat responded. I don't know if it was like it responded and gave like a super technical answer, and it was just like,
so wait, let me explain what's happening for the audience. When you run a query in ChatGPT, it charges you tokens, and you have to pay for those tokens, basically, right? So somebody's using Chipotle's AI to answer questions about their own website or whatever. So Chipotle's paying for the tokens.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, so is every company and every app and every like thing that you interact with going to be able to give you the results of everything on the web or anything that you're looking for, and it's all going to be relative for the most part? Like, maybe that's what's going to happen, where it just like, because really the only thing you're dealing with now is this, like, it's not an information problem that we got, it's a power problem. So once we figured out power, which is just it's not complicated, we already solved it. Like, put in some nuclear plants, and they're already working on it, right? Like, put in nuclear, put in solar, put in everything that you can and crank up power. If you get the cost of power down as low as possible, then it's just like anybody can build anything, and everybody can build it equally well. Yeah. Nobody has a moat at that point.
I think, and that's a very real future as to where things are going. I'll just plant my flag though. I think Google's going to come out on top with the AI stuff.
Wouldn't
really
surprise
do.
me. Yeah.
They still control the vast majority of search. They've got more money behind them than anything. And the other thing is they have the infrastructure, they have the architecture for the internet built. Yeah. Everybody else is using their architecture.
Yeah.
Right? That's their architecture. If they go click and they turn it off, the search functionality of like everything else out there is gone. They don't have anything.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm sure Google hasn't done that because of the antitrust issues and stuff like that. But they literally have all of it.
Yeah.
They have all the information. Nobody else
wouldn't surprise me. Not only that, but just like, it's like, Google it. When I tell somebody to Google it, I might not necessarily mean go Google it. I might mean ChatGPT it or go run it through AI. But it's just like, yeah, it's Google it. My grandma the grandma knows that. The parents know that, and the kids know that. Even my younger kids, who all use AI like regularly, for everything.
Yeah.
They know that, Google. And so maybe if Google could figure out how I see Google winning is they get everybody using AI without them knowing that they're using AI.
Yeah. Well, it's happening. I mean, like, Apple, the Siri's going to be gone. It's going to be powered by Gemini.
Yeah.
Because Apple didn't pull their head out of their.
It's so bad. Yeah, Gemini. If they would have figured
I
Siri
hate
out.
Siri.
Yeah, I hate Siri too. My Siri goes to ChatGPT. So you think it's going to go to Gemini?
They already signed a deal, dude. They signed a deal like a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
Siri's going to be powered by Gemini. I don't know how their transition is going to happen, but
why would they go with Google? Like, Google's their number one enemy.
Who knows? Behind the door, shaking hands, somebody kissed somebody else. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
And so just so everybody understands, the reason Google created a phone was not because they wanted to be in the phone business. No one wants to be in the phone business. They did it so they could collect data. They wanted all the browser data and the
GPS data,
the GPS data for your car, and all that data that was like all living on Apple. So and they don't need a lot. They don't need to have 100% of the market. They just need a percentage of the market to be able to then you can paint forward like what everybody else is doing based on that information.
Right.
So, and then you can run ads for it too as well. So it's like they have email, they have maps, if they have all of Siri now too, it's like, good night. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's sharing of data. That was part of the deal. I'm sure. At whatever level. So I'm sure Google's going to get access to additional data. Somewhere, who knows? All right. Let me shift this a little bit. Yeah. It's super, super kind of crazy, interesting, but, all right. So I want to talk about like every time I've been on a call with a dentist and we talk about ads, first question is, well, how much should I spend, or I've only got $500, or blah, 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 blah. So when you're bringing on a client and you're investigating how to set up the budget, what are the things that you're looking for? So a listener can go, okay, I need to ask myself these questions, or I'm going to be asked these questions if I'm going to set up an ad campaign.
Yeah.
How do you structure that?
Really good question. Okay. So I think marketing is fundamentally broken and does a disservice as a whole. Like, this is my personal belief. Just marketing companies, the way that they're structured, because their incentives are not aligned with their customers. So what do I mean by that? A traditional marketing company is like, hey, what do you want? And it's like, well, I want a website, or I want ads, or I want SEO. And it's like, cool. How much do you want to spend? Random number. And then it's like, okay, cool. And then your job is to spend that money. That's like the agency's first job, is to make sure every month we spend that money, because we get paid a percentage of that. And then, results and all that stuff, but that's downstream. So that's something I feel really passionate about, that there's that misalignment there. And so what I do is I start the conversation with, why are you asking for this? So why are you asking for a website? Why are you asking for ads? Why? And it sounds dumb because we all know the answer, but I want them to articulate it. And it's like, well, yeah, I want SEO because I want to rank higher. Well, why? Well, and ultimately you get to, I want more new patients. You're going to land
new patients. Yeah,
beautiful.
New patients is where you land.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, cool. So you want more new patients. That's your primary objective here. Yes. Okay, great. So let's walk backwards and walk into that, rather than starting at the top and working in. Let's start at the bottom. So how many patients do you see now? Well, I see 20. Okay. And how many do you want to see? Well, in an ideal world, I would see 40. Okay, great. So you want 20 more additional new, this is assuming they're not doing any marketing right now, right?
Right.
So it's like, great. Then you're going to want an additional 20 new patients. All right. So let's walk through that. How many leads am I going to have to generate 20 new patients? Well, I'm going to assume, because you're new to marketing, you're probably missing a lot of calls, and the industry average is 35%. So I'm going to back that number out. I'm going to assume that's where you're going to be at. And your team's probably not great on the phones because you haven't done marketing. No, my team converts at 100%. I know they do, but those are all patient referrals. And everybody converts at 100% on patient referrals.
Right.
Marketing's a totally different ballgame. These people are not coming directly to you with no competition in mind, coming to you with 20 options in mind. So you need to be way more on your A game. So I'm going to assume you're going to be around industry average. And then what's your average time to appointment? The industry average right now is 28 days for a new patient to come in. 28 days, which means your no-show rate's going to be about 40%, no matter how you slice it. Like, that's where you're going to be. So right off the bat, around industry average, I know that about 80% of the leads are going to slip down the drain. Now, I think I can help you. I can get an AI product to answer your calls so you don't miss any. I can train your team to go from 50 to 70% if you hold them accountable. And then if you implement block scheduling, we can get them in faster. So now 50% of those opportunities come through. So I might need to generate 50 leads to get 20 new patients to walk through the door. But there's a real likelihood that you get only like 5 of those patients through your door if you don't make these changes that we're telling you about.
Right.
So then from there, if we can nail down that number, then I can go in and figure out, okay, what are we going to, in this particular market, how competitive is it? What is their Google reviews? What is their call to action going to be? How fast can they get them in? And I can start to, how nice are their pictures on their website versus all their immediate competition? And then I have built like my own little algorithm for this, and I can go, okay, this is what it's going to cost per lead, qualified lead for this particular market, based on those 5 things that I just gave you. And that's what it's going to cost. It's going to cost you $7,000 to generate those 20 new patients. Now you can get more from that, but that's what I'm assuming that you're going to get.
So this scenario inevitably lands on a conflict between the marketing company saying, I created all these leads, they called the office, your front desk sucks, and the dentist saying, You created all these leads. They were shit leads. My front desk is awesome. How do you handle that? That is across the board. That happens.
So
how do you handle this?
So I have all the calls. And so let's go over these calls, Doc. And so we go over the calls and we listen to the calls, and I go, okay. And then the other thing is I know where these people live because they gave their address. Yeah. And I pull up sometimes, hey, here's where they live. This guy has a Porsche.
Qualified.
This guy has a Porsche in the driveway. And he called in and he asked you how much an implant is. And your team rudely said, we don't give prices over the phone. And we lost the new patient. Help me. Yeah. Well, they're a shopper. Doc, when you called me for marketing, you shopped me.
That's the best response I've heard ever.
What do you mean? This is in all other business worlds, all other businesses, except for dentistry. Yeah. When someone asks for pricing, we call it a buying signal.
Yeah.
It means they're one step away from saying, yes, I want to buy this from you. Your team just doesn't know how to use redirecting questions. You should have just said, and we trained them, but you don't hold them accountable, Doc. You let them do whatever they want. You weren't like a wild, wild west in your office. All they had to do is say, great question. Do you know if the tooth is impacted? Oh, you don't? No Perfect. Problem. Let's just get you in and get some x-rays. We have a free consultation, and we'll tell you exactly what's going on because no one can give you prices without that information. What works better for you, morning or afternoon? And then they come in and they buy implants from you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so simple. It's
sales training at the front desk.
Yeah. So anyways, like you can tell I get passionate about this because I run into it all the time. But the other thing, this may help you, or if there's marketing people out there listening, what I've trained my team on is that data doesn't move emotions, stories move emotions. And that when I say that means to the dentist themselves. So I tell my team all the time, guys, when you listen to a politician and they stand up and they go, there's 4.27, micro lead in the water and it's killing the fish and the babies and it's bad for us. Like no one cares. Like we're all like, dude, what can I do about that? It doesn't even make any sense. Mm-hmm. When someone takes their 3-year-old kid and they stand up in front of the news camera and they say, my baby drank the water that we were told that was safe, and now their teeth all fell out or they got this rash all over them, everybody listens at that point. One example is more powerful than all the data in the world. So what we do is we have all this data and we're like, your team stinks, you're 50%. Rah, rah, rah. And then it's like, but here's an example. And we show them one example. And that's more powerful and that will move the doctor more than all the data in the world.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to talk a little bit about ROI. I kind of mentioned in my intro that some marketing companies, I'm not naming any names, and we at the beginning, we didn't do this. We do it now, but we didn't do it. But there's a lot of marketing companies that they're unable to produce an actual ROI number. And we can talk about how you can do that. I mean, get technical, but you've built something. Mm-hmm. You built your own CRM that basically follows from ads all the way through to patient paying the bill. I'm assuming. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. When you say your CRM?
Yep. And the recare rate and all the whole 9 yards.
So tell me kind of like, if I were a client of yours, what do I see? What are you giving me to justify the cost of your services and why you developed it in the way that you did?
Okay. Yeah. So first of all, last year for all of our clients that were integrated with the PMS, because there's some that were not integrated because the PMS, there's like weird PMSs out there and stuff like that. But last year for all of our clients, now this is for the whole year. So people are going to hear this and think that you should get it in the first month. It's not what I'm saying. You will not get this in the first month. And this is what people confuse ROI with lifetime value. So what I'm about to give you is last year's lifetime value.
Got it.
Of these patients. Okay. So last year, our average, this is for if we took all of the people that worked with us, all of their budgets, and then all of the people that came in and bought treatment that were integrated with the PMS, it was a 694% ROI. That's for last year. So
that's sick.
It's sick, right? So now most people have no idea what they're talking about when they're talking about ROI because most people who track it, they track it statically, meaning I spent, $5,000 this month and, I got these 20 patients in and they bought this much treatment. But most of the ROI is extremely lagging. What do I mean by that? In the dental offices, it's the same thing with accounts receivable. In a dental office, accounts receivable are horrible and super hard because you're collecting money this month for work that you did 6 months
3
ago.
months ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you got now you got to check and you're getting payments, and then you got patient financing, you got credit cards, you have insurance randomly sending you big checks all the time for stuff that you did a long time ago that you may not even do that treatment anymore. Right. So it's like, shouldn't even really count. Anyways, ROI is the same problem for dentistry because these patients, they're waiting 28 days to get into the office, and then you don't have same day treatment available. So you're waiting another, multiple weeks after that to get the treatment done. And then they're staging the treatment, and then they're waiting for their insurance to restart. And then they're like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And so ROI, I like to look at in a couple different windows. I like to look at, first of all, and this is a number we track. I haven't met anybody else who really tracks this, but it's super useful just at a glance, is average production on first visit. Why is that important? It's kind of like it's a measuring stick. So if it gets too high, it means you don't have enough new patients coming through and enough treatment to do. So you're just like, imagine you're a dental office and you have no treatment to do, and one new patient walks through the door. Bro, they're getting all the attention. And anything that needs to be done, you're doing it like right there. Like it could be a complex procedure. You're like, no, let's just get this done today, because there's the only patient that you have in the office. Now, on the flip side, if you have 100 new patients coming through the door at the same time, like you don't have time to help all of them. So you're triaging and pushing most of them out. And there's slippage with that. There's actual slippage as you do that.
You lose some. Yeah.
Yeah, you lose some or a lot. And so what I have found is if you get up to like 700 to 1,000, means you just don't have enough volume. And if you're down in that like 300 range of average production on first visit, that means you're probably at too much volume and you need to either staff up. That middle range of like, it's not a perfect number, but 400 to like 600, that's like perfect, where you're doing a good amount of treatment on average on the first visit as they're coming through the door. That's the first thing I look at. The next thing I look at is the month that we're in. What does our ROI look like? Now, some people it's horrible, like negative, but then it takes 90 days. In 90 days, it's like, oh, it got to 300. Great. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah. And then some people, it's like it takes 6 months, but it's everybody's different, and it depends on how your office is structured. Other thing that I really like to look at is as I'm driving up your new patients from digital, and that number we see it climbing, we track patient referrals as well. So if I don't see patient referrals it's lagging. Don't get me wrong, it's lagging. But if I don't see it climbing in that direction with your other new patients, that tells me you are losing something, because you should,
or you're not tracking it correctly, because you have to track the referral. You have to ask the new patient, were you referred to us? And you got to put it somewhere in the PMS.
So we have AI that correct. Typically, but we have AI that tracks all this, and we try to train all of our offices. Who can we thank for referring you on every new patient call? If you do that, it assumes a referral.
Okay.
And so it's just by default, I would rather have it err on the side of patient referrals than on marketing, because the other side, and people do this and it messes up all of our numbers. Hey, where'd you see us? Where'd you see us? How'd you hear about us? Google. And it's like 100% everything's Google, and it's like everything's off at that point. So who can you thank for referring us? Just start there and then track back from there. You'll get a decent number, and that's where what I think that most dentists don't realize is where real growth comes from is not from digital. It's from patient referrals that come from digital.
Right.
If you figure that out, the sky's the limit. Like those are the offices that just explode. And it's because you're mid-maxing your ROI. Because if you think about ROI, what is ROI? ROI is like, I invested $1. How many dollars did I get back? But if those patients are also sending patient referrals, then now it's like you have this infinite ROI loop that's happening, and just sky's the limit at that point.
What do you think is the most common mistake that dental practices make in trying to measure their marketing performance? Like, what do you commonly see that throws
Oh,
off the
bro,
ROI or
I see the craziest stuff, and smarter the dentist, the more crazier the stuff that they do. I like I just was working with a dentist, and he had this graveyard of AdWords campaigns, and he's like, "Hey, I want to work with you guys," but he was like hyper controlling. He wanted control of everything, and I'm like, that's not really how we work. Like, we're gonna control everything, and you can grade us on how many leads that we sent,
yeah,
where they were the right kind of patients, but we're gonna drive the boat from a marketing perspective. Not really interested in your opinion on it. And he was like, well, at least take a look at my back end and stuff like that. And it was like 5 or 6 different campaigns
mhm.
from other marketing companies, just a
Yeah.
graveyard. And I could tell that he was in there because these were not normal marketing campaigns. And he like figured out how to get like clicks for like $1.
Yeah.
but zero convert, like the conversion is
Yeah,
just
no conversion.
horrible. Yeah. And it was just like, I was like, I see what you're doing. And I'm like, we ended up parting ways, friends, you know what I mean? But I was like, I'm not going to do that. Like, you can go geek out on like marketing has so much data, because dentists love this stuff. And there's so
Mhm.
many theories and different ways to tackle it that like you could spin your wheels for the rest of your life on
Yeah,
marketing data and not get anywhere. Literally end up
yeah.
in the same place that you started.
That's awesome. And we could probably talk about lots of other mistakes, but that drives the point home. What's something that a dentist can do? I mean, right now with the AI search and ads kind of maybe definitely changing with the Google AI mode coming, ChatGPT ads, and who knows what's going to happen here in the next year. What's something that a dentist can do to kind of future proof themselves, maybe for the
Good
next
question.
3 years? Like,
I don't know
what
about
would
the
you
next
tell them?
3 years. That's a long ways out in the marketing world, but like the number one thing in all marketing, like hands down, and I think it's going to stay this way for a while, is your Google reviews. I think your Google reviews, if you work on those and you set a goal to be the number one rated dentist on Google in your little immediate area, it doesn't for the whole city, but just in your immediate area, I think that will carry you no matter what happens, because everybody's going to pull based on something, right? You can't just pull them
Mhm.
based on what the content is in the website. The other thing about Google reviews is that they serve every area. So what I mean by that is like, if you get more Google reviews, like you'll get more patient referrals than you're getting right now. It's just the way that it
Hands
goes.
down.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
hands down. Like if you get more Google reviews, you'll get better team members. You just will.
Yeah.
Like if you have more Google
Yep.
reviews than everybody else, it's like you'll notice the quality of people that want to work with you goes up. Also, you'll be able to sell your practice for more. Like a practice that's like, hey, we have more Google reviews than everybody in our whole area here. It's just worth more, right? Like
Yeah.
it just is. You're going to be able to ask for a little bit more money. Um, it also, I think, it helps you with marketing as a whole, like all marketing. And what I mean by that is, I explain this to people all the time. Is like, if you have the most Google reviews in your little area, someone else is going to pay for a postcard to go out, some other dental office, and
Mhm.
someone's going to get it, and they're going to go, oh, that's cool, and they're going to go online to look them up, and they're going to have 50 Google reviews, and then they're going to see you there with 1,500 Google
So,
reviews,
yeah, and they
and they're
call
going to
you.
pick, and they're going to call you. You just grab market share. They paid for the marketing, but you grab
Yep.
the opportunity. Cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So
Totally.
there it helps with that, and I think it'll future proof. Oh, it's also really good for niche things right now. So like if you can get a couple people to go in and leave aligner reviews or different things
Mhm.
like that, like as an example, if you say you want a tri-tip sandwich, I don't know if people on the West Coast, we take a piece of the cow and we call it tri-tip, and it's really good and it's cut and barbecued a certain way, and I don't think the rest of the country does that. But if you want a tri-tip sandwich, when you go to search for that, nobody's business is called tri-tip sandwich, so it
Right.
pulls on the Google reviews.
On the words in the
Yes,
review.
on the Google reviews of the words that someone goes, this is the best tri-tip sandwich. So
Yeah.
Google knows I don't want to fly across the country for a tri-tip sandwich. It knows I want a tri-tip sandwich near me. So it's going to rank a Google review for a tri-tip sandwich. So any niche dental service that is not
you can
like
get them. Yeah.
yeah, it's not first line order, meaning it's not, because Google ranks by like GP, surgical, ortho, pedo. There's maybe like one more category under, or ortho. Ortho is another one. So it's like, you're one of those. You get to be one of those. But underneath those, there's all these little sub services that can cross over, like aligners. Like no one's an aligner specialist, right? Or certain kinds of no prep veneers might be one. And so what you do is you go get your patients or your family that you've done dentistry on and say, hey, go leave me some reviews and make sure that you mention no prep veneers in there.
Right.
And then and those are low search volume, right? You're not going to get thousands of people from it, but you're going to pop up more than the next guy who has one. They're going to go, oh, no prep veneers. Boom. They're going to pop up. So it helps with the niche. I also think in the future, like, what are they going to base rankings off? Like what? Like, just content? No, they're probably most people.
UGC.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's going to be user-generated content. It's a huge part of it. And I'm so glad you said reviews, because that's my answer too.
Yeah.
Because I've had discussions with other marketing companies. Like, do you think Google's going to get rid of Google reviews? No, I don't think so. There's no chance. It's just so helpful.
I would stop using Google if it didn't have Google reviews. I would stop using it. I'd go use another platform. I'd figure it out. The other thing, here's a little trick to help offices too, like to make this actionable. The trick to getting the most Google reviews possible is not by incentivizing the customer or the patient. It's by incentivizing your team.
Your team. Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Because if you have a good experience, right, and you're doing good dentistry, and the patient has a good experience, if the hygienist says, hey, we're really trying to get another 50 reviews this month, and doctor's going to take us out to dinner, or it's a competition or whatever, would you help me out?
Yeah, me.
And give us a Google. Yeah, done. You'll get it every time. You get it every time.
Because the psychology behind that is that people, I don't care to leave a review. I actually learned this from when I bought a car a long time ago. I went to a car lot, buying like a Chevy or something like that a long time ago, and the guy at the end, he didn't do a great job, but he said, hey, my review and my bonus and like how I feed my family, like he said it that way.
Yeah.
He said, relies on your review that you leave when you get it. Can you promise me that you're going to give me a 5-star? And I said, yes. And I did it. And it wasn't
even though you probably wouldn't have given them 5 stars.
No, I did. Yeah, I wouldn't have. And so I was like, oh, why did I do that? Like, why emotionally did I do that? And it was because we love helping individuals. We don't really care to help a corporation or a business. No one cares. But everybody wants to help the individual, the waitress, the car guy, even if they do a mediocre job, we still want to help them because they're hustling. You know what I mean? And so when your team learns that and they learn to ask, like, hey, docs, we're doing a bonus this month, and if I get Google review, like I get to, I get a bonus, or I get some kind of trip.
You'll totally do it.
Everybody will do it.
Everybody does it. Yep. I love it. Well, for those out there that are kind of perked by this conversation, and you're interested in ads, reach out to SMC National. I'll put your website link in the description.
Thank you, sir.
And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you coming on, Gary. Your wealth of knowledge, and I really appreciate it. I'd like to have you come back on when ChatGPT finally launches ads for healthcare.
Do it. Yeah, absolutely.
I'd love to.
I'd love to talk about it. Thank you for having me on, and thanks for coming on my podcast. You did a great job, and I really appreciate just, it's funny because, dentistry is a tough industry. Dentists are really cutthroat towards each other, and marketing kind of copies that. A lot of the marketers will not talk to each other. I don't know if most people know that or not, but I really value in just being able to talk to somebody who knows and is going through the same thing. So there's only a couple of guys out there that will do that, and I really value the relationship.
Well, thanks, Gary. I appreciate it, man.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to Byte Size Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date with everything dental AI and tech.